With the first video being of Crysis, I thought it would be good to do Crysis 2 and 3 as well. As I completed the video, I realized I was talking in circles and didn't give you actual information. So I've decided to do my second video on the game I've played the most in my life, Command & Conquer Generals. A game I love dearly. If I'm sick, Command & Conquer Generals. If I'm sad, Command & Conquer Generals. Forgot to study for a test and you wake up in a panic at night, Command & Conquer Generals. Let's begin by reviewing the campaign, a campaign which I think holds up to this day. The game follows a loose timeline in which you play, and we will be starting with the Chinese. A quick note before we begin with the Chinese campaign. You will see in the video that there are black bars on each side of the screen. This is because of the game's resolution. Remember, this is a very old game, releasing in 2003 alongside games such as Manhunt, Postal 2, Rayman 3, Enter the Matrix and Silent Hill 3 for a few examples. You can set the resolution that you do not see the black bars, but in my opinion the game looks better with the black bars on the side, so we will be continuing with it like that. And so we begin with the first mission of the Chinese campaign. We begin the Chinese campaign in the city of Beijing, where we will be displaying the military might of the Chinese forces with a parade. Our job is to protect the people and the army in the parade from anyone who wishes to disturb us. We don't do a very good job at this. So to redeem ourselves, we are going to take our forces and destroy the chemical plant that was captured by the GLA forces that disrupted our parade. You will see we have a base. We are going to ignore the base because we don't need the base for this mission. So we take our army, which consists of Red Guard and Dragon tanks. The Red Guard is our base infantry unit. This unit is used to capture buildings with the capture building ability and is the anti-infantry base soldier. This is our most basic unit. The Dragon tank is our anti-infantry tank, or one of our flavors of anti-infantry, shooting red hot napalm at the enemy, burning them alive. The Dragon tank has the ability to clear buildings by only using one shot, burning the enemies out of occupied buildings, and it has the ability to do a wild spray, covering an area in an area denial napalm cloud. With our units explained, we march on to victory. On the way, there are bomb cars sent to disrupt us, and we successfully deal with both of them. Do not let your lying eyes deceive you. As we move to the bridge, we are introduced to the Battlemaster tank, the standard tank of the Chinese. These tanks are excellent against both buildings and other tanks. In the world of generals, tanks don't do damage to infantry units, so when you have infantry against a tank shell tickles them. But nevertheless, it is with the Battlemaster tank we also learn about the Horde bonus. Now, some Chinese units can get a Horde bonus for when there are 5 or more units in a army. For this army, it is the Battlemaster tank and the Red Guard, allowing them to shoot faster. Now that we have the entirety of our force, we move to the bridge. But before we cross the bridge, we are contacted by our air force and we get a taste of the Chinese air power as they deliver a napalm strike on our enemies.
Are now clear to commence your attack.
Tiger Wing inbound. Target acquired. Tiger Wing attack. Tiger Leader reporting. Target
Well done,
eliminated.
Tiger Wing. Second please. One final task remains.
Everything.
We also have a mini-map showing you where your troops and the enemy troops is, as well as where your objective is located and all the fog of war. Above the minimap is a red light that will flash when you are being attacked, along with a nice warning telling you your units are under attack and a red triangle zooming into where you are being attacked. Moving through the mountains, we are able to clear the GLA forces in the hills and we destroy the chemical plant that they captured. This is our first strike against the GLA menace, but like the common household rat, they have infested the entirety of China. So we decide to strike them at all of their operation centers throughout the entirety of China. And this leads us into our second mission. The second mission takes us to Hong Kong, where a GLA cell has taken over a business building and parking lots. And from this business building and parking lot, they are sending their troops to attack the city. It's our job to exterminate them the Chinese way, by destroying the building and parking lots. Thankfully for this mission, we have a very good starting army. All we have to do is get over this bridge. Well, shit. At least our most important asset survived, our dozers. Now, the dozers aren't our only new unit for this mission. We also have tank hunters, our dedicated anti-tank, anti-building infantry unit. The tank hunter has a missile launcher that can quickly take care of enemy vehicles and buildings, as well as a small TNT device that they can plant that will detonate after a few seconds, doing a bit of area of effect damage. The TNT device needs to be planted on a building or a vehicle. Moving on to the dozer, the more important of the two new units. The dozer can clear mines, but more importantly build infrastructure for us to have a base. We will discuss the buildings we can build with the dozer for this mission. The first buildings we can build is a power plant and a command center. Power plant provides power to our base, allowing us to build more structures and operating the structures. Without power, all of your base defenses will stop working and building buildings will take longer. The Chinese power plants give a base amount of power of 10. You can overload your power plant for it to give 15 power, but your power plants will take damage over time and destroy themselves if you do not deactivate the overload. Thus, overload should only be used if you catch yourself off guard by having not enough power to power all your buildings. Moving on to the command center. The command center is where we train our dozers, as well as a radar dish to unlock the minimap for the Chinese forces. The command center also houses all of our general abilities, meaning you need a command center to use your general abilities. But what are these general abilities? Well, if you look in the right corner, there are 3 stars flickering or not flickering, depending on whether you have a level or not. This is your general ranking, and you rank up by fighting the enemy. The rank up gives you different abilities that you can use. In this case, we have the Red Guard upgrade, allowing our Red Guard to be trained with 1 out of 3 veterancy, an artillery strike, and a repair that can mobily repair our tanks. We have the barracks that is used to train our infantry units. For this mission, we have access to the Red Guard and tank hunters, as well as smaller upgrades. The upgrade we have access to is the capture building upgrade we discussed in the first mission. We have the War Factory, which as its name suggests is a factory made for peacekeeping. The War Factory is where we build all of our tanks and vehicles. For this mission we have access to the Battlemaster tank, the Dragon tank, and our new tank, the Gatling tank. The Gatling tank is our other anti-infantry option and our first anti-air option. We also get our first tank upgrade, which is the Black Napalm upgrade for the Dragon tanks. This changes our warm red napalm to a cool blue. The cool blue does more damage than the warm red. Moving to our economy building, the supply center. This supplies us with supply trucks that gather supplies to fund our base and army. You start with 1 supply truck but can construct more of them using your supply center. I advise to have at least 3. This way you have a nice flow of income being generated over time. This leaves our defensive buildings, being the bunker and Gatling cannon. The Gatling cannon is the same as the Gatling tank, being an anti-infantry, anti-air weapon. The bunker is a bunker that can take 5 infantry units. My strategy for static defense with the Chinese are as follows. Construct 1 or 2 Gatling cannons and a bunker. Fill the bunker with tank hunters for anti-tank and let the Gatling cannon take care of the infantry and any enemies that like to fly around. A final note on the buildings of the Chinese. All of the buildings have the ability to construct minefields around them. Minefields are, well, as their name suggests, minefields. If you step on one, you die. You do not activate these mines, however, but if your troops are near a mine being activated, they will also take the damage of the mine. With our base being set up, we realize that the train station is still functional. The train brings up a steady flow of infantry for this mission. Just keep your forces and buildings off the train tracks, because trains in this game will destroy anything in their path. We can also use the back door by attacking the enemy from the back if we use the ferry. that is located next to our base. But since we are loyal subjects of the Chinese Republic, we are not cowards and we will be taking the enemy head on. Finally, we have a secondary objective to take care of the toxic tank facility the GLA has, to stop them from sending toxin tanks to kill our infantry. First things first, let's take care of those toxin tanks. Sending a battalion of tanks to clear the toxin tanks, we send a squad of infantry units not to support our tanks since they will die from the toxins, to capture the oil refinery. The oil refinery reduces the price of all vehicles we purchase from our war factory, supply center or command center. With capture building we could capture this toxin facility, but since we are playing with the Chinese, we will not filthy our hands with GLA technology. Now all we have to do is assault the buildings and destroy them. I for one thought we need to take care of the base that was built near the buildings as well. But no, once you've destroyed the convention center and the parking spaces, we are victorious. This leads to the successful eradication of this GLA cell. And we can now move to the third mission. The third mission has us going to Three Gorges Dam. As we arrive, we are getting our asses kicked, and the base that was set up for us is being destroyed. We retreat to higher ground. The decision is made to destroy the dam so that we can drown the GLA forces before they can overwhelm us, as well as buying us time to build up our base and army. Now, this plan works. It drowns the GLA forces trying to regroup, as well as taking care of some unwanted civilians. No witnesses means we haven't done anything wrong. With the dam being destroyed, the water level is dropping and there will soon be a land bridge for GLA to attack us. So we need to set up our base and build up our army before this becomes a problem. We have a few new units. The first unit is Black Lotus. Black Lotus is the commando of the Chinese forces. She is a skilled hacker. She can hack buildings, in other words capture them. She can hack vehicles, which disable them, and she can steal cash from the enemy's supply center. We also have the Troop Crawler. The Troop Crawler carries allied infantry to the front lines. It has 8 spots for infantry units. Once you've trained the Troop Crawler, it comes occupied with 8 Red Guard units. The Troop Crawler is also a detector, allowing it to see landmines and traps laid by enemy combatants. We also gain 2 new abilities for our general rank, which is the level 2 artillery and the cluster charges. The level 2 artillery has a bigger area of effect and shoots more artillery shells into an area, where the cluster charges drops landmines in a small area that will detonate once enemies move over them. You can move over them without fearing detonation, but you will take damage if an enemy combatant drives over one near your troops. Our new building is the airfield. The airfield allows us to construct MiG fighters. MiG fighters shoot napalm bombs that are strong against infantry and enemy defenses. Part of the war factory I forgot to mention in the second mission is that you can repair your damaged tanks by sending them to the war factory and repairing them with the crane. The war factory also has an extra upgrade, which is the chain gun upgrade, allowing all chain guns, which is our Gatling tank and Gatling cannon, to have 25% more damage. Once a path to the other side of the river is revealed, we push our way through the enemy forces and establish a choke point in the village with our ground troops and harass the enemy defenses with our MiGs. The strategy here is to draw out the enemy troops into the village, where our ground troops ambush them, allowing our MiGs to destroy the defenses. Once enough defenses and forces have been dealt with, we move our forces outside of the village into the GLA base and destroy it. This clears the Three Gorge Dam area, and we can now continue to our next objective. With the Chinese forces dealing with GLA all over the country, the GLA were able to construct a toxin lab in secret. Thankfully, our spies in the Tangula Mountains were able to catch wind of this development, and MiG fighters were sent to deal with this problem. The MiG fighters realize it won't be that easy, since both of them are shot down long before they are in range of the toxin facility. Why do we need the MiG fighters and not use our regular forces, you may ask? Simple. The MiG fighters' napalm is needed to cancel out the toxins of the facility, or else the toxins will flow into the river and poison our people. This leaves us with a problem. We can't get close enough with the MiG fighters to deal with the facility with those air defenses in place. We are given the job to take a team and deal with all the air defenses in the mountain, to allow our MiG fighters to safely destroy the facility. At the start of the mission, we are introduced to a new unit, the Hacker. The Hacker has two abilities: Disable Buildings, which disables the enemy buildings, and his real ability, Cache Hack, or Hack Internet. You probably realized the problem by now. We are playing as the Chinese, meaning our social credit score is very important. But hacking is such a bad thing, especially if you steal money through hacking. But not to worry, I have you covered, or at least I have myself covered. By pretending my hackers are just VTubers making money on the internet and I am their manager. This way you get to keep your social credit score and still make loads of cash on the side. We gain a new general ability, which is the Cache Hack level 1 and 2. Cache Hack allows you to steal money from an enemy supply center. With all the upgrades discussed, we can now continue with the mission. We take our force of Red Guard and Tank Hunters to deal with the anti-air defenses and the troops guarding these defenses. Black Lotus follows our team closely and captures the oil derricks in the mountains to secure more funds for our army. With the VTubers and oil derricks on our side, we can fund our army and troops. With each anti-air defense we destroy, we are given reinforcements. We are soon stopped in our tracks when we reach the bridge. An infantryman's worst nightmare. A toxin tractor is protecting the area. But not to worry. We use Black Lotus to disable the vehicle and our infantry can take care of the air defenses and the units guarding the tractor. Once the tractor is dealt with, we realize that this isn't going to be as easy as we thought and we're going to need heavy metal to deal with this problem. Thankfully, the radar shows a captured war factory which we can reclaim to our cause and build tanks to support our infantry. Once our troops have secured the area around the war factory, Black Lotus is sent in to reclaim our property. We set our war factory to work to build us a more responsible army. With us having a bit more time on our hands, we are able to talk about another game mechanic: the veterancy or rank system. As your units gain experience, they rank up, moving to the first, second and third ranks. Each rank increases a unit's damage potential, or if you're a support unit like the VTuber, your money making potential. Now that we understand the ranking system and our tanks are complete, we can complete the mission by pushing our tanks through the village, dealing with the GLA base and taking out the final anti-aircraft defense system. This allows our MiGs to come in and blow up the toxin facility. With the toxin facility being washed down the river by our MiGs, we are able to continue on with our campaign to reclaim the motherland. Moving to our 5th mission. With our success in the mountains, we move over to Balaki, where the GLA has constructed numerous defenses and bases throughout the city, having an iron grip on it. Thankfully, our allies in the US of A has our backs, giving us access to their carpet bombers, and the mission begins with the USA giving us a taste the American way. We have 4 main targets to take care of, 3 bases within the city and their main encampment hidden in the mountains. Even though our campaign so far has been successful, our troops are weary of battle, and I think my loyal soldier sums it up quite well at the beginning of the game.
This time we corrected our mistake. Kill them all.
We can take a look at our general rank, revealing new upgrades we have. The only new upgrade is an upgrade that allows us to build our nuke cannons. More on them later. The new technologies we are able to use are the Overlord tanks and the nuke cannons I mentioned, since we took the upgrade in the general ranking system. Starting with the Overlord tank is the best tank in the game, never mind just for the Chinese. The Overlord tank has 2 main barrels they use to shoot the enemy with. Excellent against tanks and buildings. But that's not all the Overlord tank has. The Overlord tank has the ability to construct a propaganda tower, a bunker, and a Gatling cannon on its backside or on top of itself. The propaganda tower heals nearby allies, because here in the glorious Republic of China we don't need medical aid. Pure patriotism heals our wounds, and just hearing the voice of our glorious leader is all we need to go on fighting. The bunker is exactly like our defensive structure. It is able to carry 5 troops, and the troops are able to shoot out of this bunker. I like to add tank hunters in the bunkers because it makes the Overlord tank even more devastating against vehicles and buildings. Lastly is the Gatling cannon upgrade. The Gatling cannon upgrade adds a Gatling cannon to our Overlord tanks, allowing the Overlord to be both anti-infantry and anti-vehicle and building. Moving on to the new cannon. The new cannon is, well, as its name suggests, a giant cannon on a tank that fires a nuke, and the results are quite devastating. Further along we have our information center. We have the nationalism upgrade here that increases our horde bonus by 25%. Very nice. The plan up to this point is to use our mix and our American allies' carpet bombing technology to clear the GLA defenses so that our ground troops can wash over the enemy like the Red Sea washed over the Egyptians. We are warned about IEDs in the city by our tactical advisor, but not to worry, I know a responsible way to get rid of them.
Moving now, sir.
With the GLA defenses softened, we are able to move our ground troops into the city, making a beeline for the oil refinery and oil derricks. This will help us fund the retaking of the city, as well as reducing the cost of our army. A note on oil derricks that I forgot to mention in the 4th mission. Once you've captured the oil derrick for the first time, you get $1,000. Very nice. As our oil derricks pump oil, we are able to sell that oil for $200 each, allowing us to fund our army further. It is at this point we are also warned that our supply pile is empty. Oh no, what would we do? Is what most people will think. But thankfully, earlier in the game I had the foresight to set up a VTuber company, allowing us to collect funds. Let's see how our company is doing. Wonderful! With everything in place to protect our base and ensure a steady economic flow if something bad happens or if I mess up, we are able to attack them with our oil force from the north and our base force from the east, creating a choke point and clearing the town of the GLA forces. This only leaves their final encampment in the mountains. The cowards can't even build their main base in this city. With our forces uniting together, we are able to clear the base in the mountains and kill all of the GLA forces. And we are finally victorious, taking away the iron grip the GLA has over this region. We are now able to continue on with the liberation of China. Bishek is our next target. The GLA has captured the train network to supply them with, well, supplies and troops, meaning this is the heart of the logistics center in China. Our job is to disrupt this logistic flow and ensure the GLA are not able to hold their position in China. Once we see our base, well, it ain't much, but it's enough. We have Gatling towers to defend our base, so we have nothing to worry about. All we need to do now is to construct a small strike force that we will move east over the river. We will then secure the small village in the east, establishing a foothold. Once we have cemented our position in the village, we will send Black Lotus to plant the bomb on the bridge. This mission economically might be a problem, since we only have access to 3 of our finest VTubers, and we are not able to recruit more from the barracks. With our force complete, we move out to the east, and thankfully we move out just in time to save our power plant. This exposes a fault in our defenses, and we decide to leave 2 Gatling tanks in the base to ensure our power plant's survival. Once we've cleared the small GLA encampment on the other side of the bridge, Black Lotus has an accident.
Unit lost.
With the mission being delayed, we reassess our situation, and we decide once Black Lotus has recovered from a train accident, we will send reinforcements with her to reinforce our strike force in the east. With this, we are able to clear the village and establish our foothold while capturing 2 of the GLA's supply stashes to increase our economic flow. With all of this done, we are able to send Black Lotus to infiltrate the breach. Luckily, the GLA brought anti-tank defenses to an infantry fight, and Black Lotus is able to plant a IED on the bridge. Now all we have to do is wait. And with this, the GLA's logistics center has been crippled, and they are not able to reinforce their troops in our glorious nation. There is only one mission remaining, one final swift strike to ensure the destruction of the GLA forces.
We are victorious.
We have identified the base they are using to invade the east, and we will destroy this base. Their base of operations is in Kazakhstan, and we have been given full access to the Chinese military might, including our nuclear arsenal. We march through the mountain pass, unwillingly walking straight into the GLA trap. The ambush is successful and our right flank is completely collapsed, but thanks to the quick response of our MiGs, we are able to stabilize and retake our position. We move to higher ground to take a better position and to establish a foothold in the region. As we fight our way to the enemy base, the dozers arrive and we are able to start constructing our base. Now that we have full range of all of the technologies of the Chinese, let's take a look at the final puzzle pieces we will need to obtain total victory. Our last tank is the Inferno Cannon. Shooting long-range napalm, they are excellent against enemy base defenses and enemy infantry, burning them to a crisp and ensuring their safety by firing from a distance. We now have full access to all of our general abilities, which upgrades all of our previous abilities to their full potential and gives us our final ability, the EMP Pulse. We have two new technologies, being the Information Tower, healing everyone in a small area around it, meaning we need to mix both our static defense and regular unit defense to ensure proper use of this tower. We also have the final upgrade for the airfield, being the MiG armor upgrade for our MiGs. And as I mentioned, we have use of our nuclear arsenal. Now the nuke isn't the only thing we can research in the nuclear silo. The nuclear silo upgrades our tanks with uranium shells and nuclear tanks, giving them more damage and speed. Our propaganda centrum also receives its final upgrade, being subliminal messaging. Horde bonus is now an extra 25% more effective. Let's take a look at what's going on the battlefield.
Warning, a scud storm has been detected.
Well, shit. They've constructed a Scud Storm and are constantly sending bomb trucks. The Scud Storm is the GLA's most devastating weapon, destroying entire bases in an instant. So we need to space our buildings appropriately to not lose too many structures. As for the bomb trucks, they can easily destroy groups of tanks if not dealt with carefully. Nevertheless, we need to move into the village to secure resources, since the resources in the hills are not going to be good enough for us to launch a full-scale attack. As we move into the city, I use a single Red Guard unit to capture oil derricks and explore the region, while my tanks secure the supplies to the west. This Red Guard unit should receive the Medal of Honor, distracting the enemy units long enough for us to gain a defensive position at the supplies. Even with this loyal soldier sacrifice, the enemy Scud Storm devastates our position and we are back to square one. Thankfully, through the power of safe scumming, we are able to get a more stable position at the secondary resource location. My advice for this mission is to use aggression and Overlord tanks. I realized once again why Overlord tanks are the best tanks in the game. By using two Overlord tanks, one with the Propaganda Tower upgrade and one with the Gatling Tower upgrade, you can deal with almost anything and heal them back up to full health. With the help of the Overlord tanks and the steady stream of reinforcements, we are able to break through the GLA base in the village. We are able to find a pathway directly into their base with little to no defenses. And it is through the valiant effort of our Overlord tanks and the stream of reinforcements they are steadily receiving from our war factory, we are able to infiltrate the GLA base and destroy their foothold in Kazakhstan, ensuring the safety of the motherland. With our total victory over the GLA forces in the east, we once again celebrate with a parade, showing the people our strength and dedication. I'm sure things will be different this time. With the 7 missions complete, we are at the end of the Chinese campaign. And what are my thoughts on this campaign and on the Chinese as a faction overall? The story of the Chinese campaign is that of reclaiming the motherland. Using, well, any means necessary, be it propaganda, help from our allies, or even nuclear weapons. It is surprisingly wholesome, considering what China's objectives are in real life, and what they consider to be their homeland in real life. But overall, you can insert any country, person, or place here and say it is a noble effort to protect those you love and those you care for, and securing the safety of those people. The Chinese faction has some of the best tanks in the game, and considering the use of Red's Guard and tank hunters getting the horde bonus, their infantry are surprisingly decent to use in combat. Just be careful not to lose a horde of infantry against anti-infantry specialist units like the Toxin Tractor or anything with a machine gun. So, don your communist hat and your love for the motherland, build your tanks, build your forces, secure your people's place in the world, gain social credit, and enjoy every minute while doing it. But as you might have realized, the Chinese aren't the only faction, so next time we'll be looking at the Chinese main enemy in this campaign, the GLA. But until then, I hope you enjoyed the video, leave a like if you enjoyed it, consider subscribing, and I hope to see you in the next one.